Welcome to the regular council meeting, Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 at 4:40 p.m. Council chambers and via Zoom. We acknowledge that the town of Kirkland Lake is located on the traditional territory of Algonquin peoples and including the Beaver House First Nation and unceded territory of other Indigenous peoples. We recognize the presence of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Cree, and Métis people in our community since time immemorial and honor their stewardship and care of these lands. We hereby affirm our continued commitment and responsibility to reconciliation. Call to order and a moment of silence. Item number 2, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Janice Ranger, seconded by Councillor Vlad Shava, be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
All in favor? Opposed? There are none. Item carried unanimous. Declaration of pecuniary interest. There are none. Item number 4, petitions and delegations. There are none this evening. Item number 5.1, acceptance of minutes and recommendations.
Moved by Councillor Casey Owens, seconded by Councillor Dolly Dykens, be it resolved that council approve the minutes of the following meetings. Minutes of the regular meeting of council held Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. Minutes of the special council meeting held Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. And minutes of the public meeting held Wednesday, March 29th, 2023.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Items carried unanimous. Item number 6, reports of municipal officers and communications. Item 6.1, 2023 municipal fire agreement renewal with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry. Sean Lecart, Director of Corporate Services.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through your council. I'm bringing this report forward because right now, as you know, we do not have a fire chief. So I volunteered to bring the report forward. I think I volunteered. So the original agreement was signed with the municipal fire agreement with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry. I'm going to say April 1st, 2013. This agreement was signed. We did have agreements before that, but this is the agreement that we're extending. We did extend the renewal as of April 1st, 2018 for 5 years at that point. So it's coming due now April 1st again. And as long as there's no changes in the agreement, the only thing that's required for us to submit is the fire risk assessment, which you'll see in attachment 4. I had help with the fire department, the platoon chiefs filling that out. And then an updated municipal agreement review checklist, which also went to the fire department. And it is the actually only document that needs to be signed to extend this for the 5 years. So it is showing in there. As you'll see, the only real changes is the cost. So in 2018, the annual fee started at $8,623.73 with a CPI of 1.8%. As of this year, you're looking at $9,742.84 with a CPI increase of 4% per year for the term of the year. The only other changes are enlisted in attachment 3. There are some changes to some of the fees in there should we require their services. Administration does recommend the council authorize the extension of the municipal fire agreement for another 5 years, which will take it from April 1st, 2023 to April 1st, 2028. The agreement is required under our health and safety for our community, obviously, and just bringing it forward to get it extended. I'll answer any questions.
Any questions from council? Councillor Dykens.
Madam Mayor to Director. Is there any background to why the increase went from 1.8% increase every year to 4%?
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor Dykens. Yeah, basically, they said the COLA, so the actual inflation is, I think, higher than that. It's 5 or 6% at the end of the year, so that's where the amount came from. So they didn't go with they could have went higher, I guess, but they know it's 5 years, so they extended it.
Thank you.
Counselor Owen?
Yeah, through you, your worship, to Director Sean, is there any chance of getting that actually tied to the rate of inflation? Because the Central Bank of Canada is working to bring inflation down, right? We went through a long period where the inflation was well below 4% this is. I'm just thinking in terms, it might be better for the community if we could get that tied to the actual inflation rate rather than 4 point whatever for 5 years.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councilor. And I'm not sure. I think in the past it's always just renewed for 5 years. We go with what they offer. This is not just offered to us. This is offered to all municipalities around the area, and I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure if there's
No, I just
negotiation room. It didn't seem that way. This is the offer.
It's fine. Thank you.
Anything further from council? Here, motion? Sure.
Moved by Councillor Rick Owen, seconded by Councillor Patrick Kiley. Be it resolved that report number 2023 FES 001 entitled 2023 Municipal Fire Agreement Renewal with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry be received, and that council authorize the renewal of the municipal fire agreement with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry for the term commencing on April 1st, 2023 through to April 1st, 2028, and that council authorize the mayor and municipal clerk to execute all documents required in further extending the municipal fire agreement with the MNRF, and finally that an execution by law be brought forward for 3 readings on April 4th, 2023.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried. Thank you, Sean. At this time, Councillor Owens is going to take chair so that I may.
Item 7, consideration of notice of motion. 7.1, Mayor White, Ontario School Board elections. Town of Petrolia, Ontario School Board elections.
So this was a motion that we got from another community. It is worth noting from administration that the school board trustee elections are entirely facilitated and funded by the municipality without assistance by school boards. For the town of Kirkland Lake, these costs are borne by the town of Kirkland Lake's taxpayers and contributes to added cost and resources for the operations, human resources, additional ballot setups, voters list coordination, et cetera, and management. So that's developing 2 additional sets of procedures for school board elections in the facilitation of the elections every 4 years. There are supplemental regulations under the Education Act with respect to school board trustee elections that make things increasingly complex at the polls in terms of eligibility to vote, processing for ballot at the poll, procedures that for elections, they're being facilitated outside of the facilitating municipality. Examples, Temiskaming Shores responsible for French public trustee elections, but qualifying electors in Kirkland Lake have a right to also vote in the zone. The methods of vote. So hypothetically, if there was ever a year where the municipality and the office of the mayor and each councillor were acclaimed, the clerk would still have to proceed with hosting and facilitating the entire process for the school board trustee election on the ratepayer without assistance whatsoever by the school board. So I'm asking for us to support this motion with that justification.
Any questions or comments?
Acting chair, sorry, I can think, through acting chair to council. I fully support this. Our clerk and staff are doing all the work and it's coming out of our budget rather than the school board budget. So I just want to show my support for that.
No more questions? Have a motion?
Moved by Mayor Stacy White, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Kirkland Lake receives and supports the attached resolution from the Town of Petrolia requesting changes to Ontario School Board elections dated January 25th, 2023, And finally, that this motion be forwarded to the Premier of Ontario, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, MPP Cochrane-Timiskaming, MP Timmins James Bay, Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, and all municipalities within the district of Timiskaming.
All in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Councillor Owens. I'll now reclaim the chair. Item number 2, Councillor Patrick Kiley, call to action, affordable housing and homelessness as supported by AMO.
Just a couple of comments. The recent budget came out, allowed for some monies that we haven't had in the past for homelessness and supposedly affordable housing. It's kind of a Band-Aid solution. It's not the full Monty, put it that way, that we need. I believe by memory, sort of the exact correct, you might be able to double check on that, but I think at the DSAT meeting, we were told there are 19 homeless people in Kirkland Lake. We'd like to see it at 0. So, this, resolution is in support of, having a nation or a provincial, policy change, that's a little more, capable of looking after our own people, as the pretty bitter winter, to say the least.
Any questions from council? I noted, I'll have to review the motion.
Sure. Moved by Councillor Patrick Kiley, seconded by Councillor Marchava. Whereas the homeless crisis is taking a devastating toll on families and communities, undermining a healthy and prosperous Ontario. And whereas the homelessness crisis is the result of underinvestment, and whereas homelessness requires a range of affordable housing, social service, and health solutions from government, and whereas homelessness is felt most at the level of local government and the residents that they serve, and whereas municipalities and the district social services administration boards are doing their part, but do not have the resources, capacity, or tools to address this complex challenge. And whereas leadership and urgent action is needed from the provincial government on an emergency basis to develop, resource, and implement a comprehensive plan to prevent, reduce, and ultimately end homelessness in Ontario. Therefore, be it resolved that Council of the Town of Kirkland Lake calls on the provincial government to urgently A, acknowledge the homelessness in Ontario is a social, economic, and health crisis. B, commit to ending homelessness in Ontario. And C, work with AMO and a broad range of community, health, Indigenous, and economic partners to develop, resource, and implement an action plan to achieve this goal. And finally, that a copy of this motion be addressed to the Premier of Ontario, copying the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, Ministry of Health, Timiskaming District Social Services Administration Board, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, MPP Cochrane-Timiskaming, MP Timmins James Bay, and all municipalities within the district of Timiskaming.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 7.3, Councillor Lad Shava, oath of office, Municipality of Trent Lakes, oath of office.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and to everyone. This motion stems from resolution from the municipality of Trent Lakes requesting changes to the municipal oath of office. The changes to include acknowledgement in that municipal oath of office. This is really very important. It's part of a progressive cooperation with our brothers and sisters, and recognition of the fact that they are the first people of this land that we call home. So again, I ask you to support this. We've done that before by having an acknowledgement, a statement of land acknowledgement at the beginning of our meeting, and this one will be fitting to have the same statement when we're taking our oath of office, especially for the new councillor that are coming after us. So I urge you to support this. Thank you.
Any questions from council? None noted, I'll have the reading of the motion.
Moved by Counselor Latchava, seconded by Counselor Patrick Kiley. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Kirkland Lake receives and supports the attached resolution from the municipality of Trent Lakes requesting changes to the municipal oath of office dated February 28th, 2023. And finally, that this motion be forwarded to the Premier of Ontario, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Beaver House First Nation Wabun Tribal Council, Métis Nation of Ontario, Temiskaming Métis Community Council, MPP Concord Temiskaming, MP James Bay, Temiskaming District Social Services and Administration Board, and all municipalities within the district of Temiskaming.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 8, introduction, reading, and considerations of bylaws. 8.1.
Moved by Counselor Janice Ranger, seconded by Counselor Rod Chava. Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read the first, second, third time, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor, municipal clerk, and a seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 2324 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of documents related to a 5-year extension of the municipal fire agreement dated April 1st, 2023 with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Sorry, I don't know where I went with this now. Item number 9, question from council to staff, none noted. Item number 10, notices of motion. None from the floor. I have 4. Barriers for women in politics, which will be seconded by Councillor Ranger. Enbridge gas utility field locate fee, which will be seconded by Councillor Rigowan. The reinstatement of legislation permitting a municipality to retain surplus proceeds from tax sales, which will be seconded by Councillor Owens. And item number 10.4, Northern College Skills Development Fund, which will be seconded by Councillor Kylie. Thank you very much. Good. Okay. Item number 11, councillors' reports. Councillor Owen.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Madam Mayor and myself attended the Temiskaming Municipal Association meeting last week. Yes, it was last week. It was a very informative meeting in which there were a number of delegations. DSAP is represented by its CEO, Mark Stewart, and John McCarthy from the head of EMS. And they explained this new paramedicine program that they have going. Basically, they have 2 dedicated paramedic officers in the south end and 2 in the north end. These are people that can take calls. Someone's not feeling well, they don't need to tie up an ambulance. They can take their vehicle, go out, they can assess their health condition, take their blood pressure, their temperature, and all the other things that paramedics are legally allowed to do. And they can basically do wellness checks in a sense. And the idea behind this program is that it doesn't tie up 911, it doesn't tie up the ambulances, and it doesn't tie up emergency room facilities. By getting to these people first, they may or may not need to go to the hospital. If they need to go to the hospital, then the paramedics will make the call. Sorry, and see that they get to the hospital. So that was quite interesting, and it's becoming more and more well used as people hear about it. Then we heard from Jeff LaFerrier, the mayor of Temiskaming Shores. He gave a report on the Earlton Airport, which I found very interesting because the Earlton Airport is located in Earlton, but it's actually a partnership between 13 of the municipalities in Temiskaming. There's something I didn't realize. I always thought it was Armstrong Township that had it, but no. And he's chair of their board. And to become a member of the board, municipality pays a per capita charge. It's $9. change. So the airport is running well. They have a management company that manages its operations. And of course, they would like to see more municipalities in Temiskaming take part in the airport, which would allow for further expansion and improved services. And I'm just gonna say this off the cuff. If we decide to look at alternatives in terms of our airport, this could be one option that I wasn't aware of that we could look at down the road. So that was quite informative. And then Dallas Forget from Temiskaming Home Support also made a presentation. And I'm gonna be quite frank on this. I felt like all he did during the presentation was ask for a handout. That was the impression he left me. And he did go through their programs, but he constantly said how they're underfunded and they need more money, and their base budget hasn't been increased for a number of years. And but the one comment, now this is a not-for-profit organization, okay? The one comment he made that really upset me was when he talked about fundraising, he was talking about user fees. He never mentioned any other form of fundraising. And any not-for-profit organization I belong to, user fees were your last resort to increase. You used other fundraising to support your programs. So I was kind of disappointed on that. And but anyways, all in all, and Madam Mayor, I didn't make any notes on Mr. Whalen's presentation, so it's turning out to be quite a, I think, valuable organization for us to be involved in, because as you can see, I wouldn't have known, even though I'm on the board, I didn't know about the paramedic program. It's relatively new. I didn't know about the Earlton Airport, and these are things that we can share and bring back for our consideration. So thank you.
Councillor Ranger?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Owen. Do you happen to know, or was it discussed, is the Earlton Airport considered a regional airport?
Yes. Well,
So is their funding access different than?
they're a licensed airport, which we aren't. I'm not sure, and perhaps Madam Mayor would know for sure whether it's legally considered a regional airport. I know that that's the goal. They want more municipal. And even today, because I checked with Mr. Stewart when I was there for other reasons. Our paramedic flights, we use that airport 5 or 6 times a year, even though we have our own airport. Yeah. I didn't ask them why, but there are circumstances. Maybe it's on the weekends of the drags, you know, or maybe it's a weather condition that exists up here that doesn't exist. But we are already using that 5 or 6 times a year, which again, something else that I was totally unaware of. But they want to be a regional airport, and I believe you're right. I believe that does open them up to more funding opportunities.
Councillor Kylie?
Yeah, I attended the open house or the tour for the students of
Oh,
Central
sorry.
School.
There was question. Did you have a question, Lauren?
I
Or
just
you
want to have a comment, not a question.
Okay, so sorry, Councillor Kylie, I'll take Lad's, Councillor Shaba's question for Rick, and then we'll continue on with reports. Sorry about that.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Owen, thank you for that update. Regarding the airport, the last time I understand your take about the usage by paramedics, but I don't think that airport could sustain that if you don't have passengers. The last time I flew to that airport, some of you might recall, during the Ontario Northland airplane, which was a long time ago. So if they want to have a regional airport and they're not thinking about passenger planes, but that might be a little bit tricky. Just,
Yeah, they didn't really, sorry, through your worship. They didn't really go into their specific plans. That would be things they would be discussing at their board meetings. This was more a general overlay of this is what we are, this is what we do. This is how we're running it with a management program, a management company, and it's running really well. And sort of just a suggestion, because it is a Temiskaming-wide organization, that they would like to see more participation from the other communities. And I think there's like 22 communities in Temiskaming. It's in the 20s anyway. So they have less, they have about a half. And you know, it's something that we may want to consider down the road if we decide to discuss the airport.
Any questions for Councillor Owen? Okay, we'll proceed. More reports, Councillor Kylie, you may proceed.
Yeah, I attended the open house with the mayor for that was Central School. It was a very enlightening day, very enjoyable. The kids were pretty excited about the operations and had some great questions. Also, Councillor Owen and I attended the DSAB meeting. It was mainly budget focused. I think we did a good job. Rick and I, a little arm twisting on the budget at 1.2%. So we were relatively pleased at that outcome. Thank you.
Excellent. Any further reports from council? Councillor Duckins.
To you, Madam Mayor, to council. I attended the Museum of Northern History Advisory Committee on March 28th. Heard about their programming and marketing efforts. And Anne Black, who is also the auxiliary president, she is the chair of that advisory committee.
Okay, anything further from council? Okay, since our last meeting, dated March 24th. Since our last meeting dated March 21st, 2023, the Office of the Mayor has held 3 school tours, as partly mentioned, St. Jerome Central School and a group of homeschool children, 2 of which were attended by Councillor Bowen and 1 by Councillor Member Kylie. The kindergarten class at St. Jerome School presented me with this card, and Councillor Rick promised that I would show all the grown-ups. Yeah, the kindergartners came to town hall, like that's incredible. So we did manage to explain to the best of our abilities to children how politics work. So that was really special, and we really do appreciate it. I attended the first Temiskaming Municipal Association executive meeting to set the agenda for TMA, held on March 30th. I asked if any council members notice or become aware of issues that are relevant to the entire area, that they bring it forward so that we can address it at that meeting, because it is, when we lobby all together as 23, our voice is that much more amplified. So if at any time you come across an item, please feel free to email it. I attended a meeting with the CAO, Director of Community Services, and members of the public regarding Canada Day celebrations. I look forward to the new partnerships forming within the community to ensure July 1st, 2023 is an amazing day with a mix of the traditional events such as the museum's breakfast, events at Civic Park, and new celebrations just coming up at Heritage North. And we congratulate all the organizations and individuals involved in making that day a success in 2023. I attended the first Northern Ontario Women's Caucus meeting via Zoom, which included nearly a dozen female leaders of municipal council from across the North. Our next steps are establishing our vision, mission, and values in terms of reference. On March 30th, I attended the unveiling of the President's Wall at Northern College. And as a proud alumni myself, I was really honored to be in attendance. Today you notice I'm wearing yellow and blue. It has been 1 year, 1 month, and 10 days since the invasion of Ukraine. Though the town of Kirkland Lake has a newfound diversity of people who choose to immigrate to our community over the recent years, and there is a very strong network of people who support our neighbors that have immigrated to Kirkland Lake, I do want to acknowledge the efforts of community members who quietly and consistently work to bring members of the Ukrainian community home to the safety and beauty of Kirkland Lake during this unimaginable time. Many locals have opened their homes, donated funds and items, as well as provided secure employment to people fleeing Ukraine as the conflict rages on. We hope that this invasion ends soon, but want everyone to know Kirkland Lake can be your home as long as you need it to be. And we sincerely give thanks to the members of this community for giving their all to get other members of communities here with us. Moving on, April 3rd to the 7th is Canadian Public Health Week. We recognize the contribution of public health and highlight the issues that are key to improving our health and well-being. The staff and board of the Timiskaming Health Unit work tirelessly to ensure everyone across the district can be healthy and safe within our communities. And finally, the Minister of Seniors and Accessibility invites all municipalities once a year to submit nominations for the 2023 Ontario Senior of the Year Award. So this award gives each municipality the opportunity to honor one of their outstanding local seniors for contributions they've made to enrich the social, cultural, and civic life of their community. The deadline for nomination is April 30th, 2023. So if any council members or staff members know of a senior that would meet these criteria within our community, please forward their name to myself before the deadline so we can ensure they're recognized this year. And that's everything. Motion. Please, Madam Clerk.
My apologies, Madam.
That's okay.
Moved by Counselor Casey Owens, seconded by Counselor Dolly Dykens. Be it resolved that the verbal updates from members of council be received.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 12, additional information. There is none this evening. We will now take a 10-minute recess before we begin. Okay, so I will have the motion read to move into closed session.
Moved by Counselor Rick Owens, seconded by Counselor Patrick Kiley. Be it resolved that council adjourn in camera pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, labor relations or employee negotiations, advice that is subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by on behalf of the municipality or local board at 5:29 p.m. for the following reasons. Item 13.1, update collective bargaining, United Steelworkers Local 2020 Union. Item 13.2, verbal report staffing update. Item 13.3, Chief Administrative Officer performance evaluation.
All in favor? Opposed? Item carried unanimous. To rise from closed session.
Moved by Counselor Dolly Dykens, seconded by Counselor Rick Owens. Be it resolved that council reconvene in open session at 5:54 p.m.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Any declaration of pecuniary interest from closed session? None noted. Item number 14.1, collective bargaining, United Steelworkers Local 2020.
Moved by Counselor Janice Ranger, seconded by Counselor Lad Chava. Be it resolved that report number 2023 C805 entitled Updated Collective Bargaining United Steelworkers Local 2020 will be received, and that council approved the approved memorandum of settlement between the corporation of the town of Kirkland Lake and United Steelworkers Local 2020 as presented, and that council authorized the mayor and municipal clerk to sign the updated collective agreement between the corporation of the town of Kirkland Lake and the United Steelworkers Local 2020, which is the volunteer firefighters, covering the period of February 3rd, 2023 to February 3rd, 2026. And finally, that an execution bylaw be brought forward for 3 readings on April 18th, 2023.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 15, confirmation bylaw.
Moved by Counselor Casey Owens, seconded by Counselor Raj Chaba, be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first, second, and third time numbered signed by the mayor and municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 2325 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held Tuesday, April 4th, 2023.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Adjournment.
Moved by Counselor Patrick Kiley, seconded by Counselor Rick Owen, be it resolved that this regular meeting of council you now at 5:56 p.m.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Good evening, folks.